catch 'em all.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to North Nox's channel. I'm the Archivist, and today we're presenting you with part 2 of the Law of Control. Now, what we're going to be doing today is I'm going to be doing a reading of all of the research notes that we found so far. By no means an exhaustive list of all the research collectibles available in the game, but all of the ones that me and Noxy have found on our playthrough so far. So, let's get to it.
I need the containment protocols for every altered item or object of power with an audio-related effect.
I'll send a team to contact Langston and get that information, sir. If yes, why? What do we tell him?
Tell him that the hiss work through sound, so any countermeasures designed for similar altered items should be considered for field use.
You know, I find that interesting. That's like a modern assault rifle right there on the table. So why is this guy using a Bren gun from World War I?
Oh, where the fuck did Martian go?
Silly. Oh yeah, while it's not my place to say, guys, I can also happily tell you, however, that Noxy has acquired some new games. We've been listening to feedback from the community, and people want horror games, so we've acquired some horror games that we're going to be doing later on. Right, so here we are, same desk as last time. Get to it. There's all the history research that we did last time. We're not going to deal with reports currently because that's a little more complicated. Right. Research. Atlas theory. Structural analysis of the Atlas. Summary. The Atlas is a physical expression created by the oldest house. Its purpose and function are currently unknown. The specific shape and dimensions of the Atlas, see file ATL-03 for said dimensions, seem to indicate a more explicit purpose than the oldest house's usual walls, floors, or shifts. The Atlas changes form, but resists observation when doing so. No visual observation has been made during its change, and it only ever occurs between frames when monitored by surveillance cameras. A previous theory was that this change corresponds to house shifts, and that the Atlas is a redacted of the redacted itself. However, the shape changes do not occur at the same time as the building shifts, which makes this theory doubtful. Structurally, the Atlas is made of the same redacted material as the rest of the oldest house. Further observation will hopefully aid in discovering its purpose. Refer to file 8-37-3592 for full report. BlackRock. Utilization of paranatural elements. BlackRock. Summary. BlackRock has allowed the Bureau to make great strides in containment procedures since it was first discovered. This report will examine how its very structure is comprised of redacted density that nullifies all residents within a range of redacted to redacted hertz. Bureau innovations that incorporate BlackRock will be analyzed, most notably the fire breaks, feats of engineering designed to contain any further outbreaks, attacks, or other internal threats. The goal of this report is to encourage Bureau staff to explore further innovations using BlackRock, as work in that field has markedly slowed in recent years. Refer to file 5-93-1733 for full report. BlackRock prisms. Utilization paranatural elements. BlackRock prisms. Summary. BlackRock prisms are unique formations of BlackRock, distinct in both their shape and potency. While the density of BlackRock dampens paranatural forces, the unique redacted structure of prisms retain frequencies in the range of redacted to redacted hertz, with perfect redacted harmonization. This report analyzes the results of focusing a redacted through a harmonized prism onto a redacted. Methods for the imprinting of non-physical fields onto redacted, imbuing them with properties of harmonized resonance redacted in the prism, will also be explored and explained. Refer to file redacted for full report. Control points. Examination of paranatural topics. Control points. Summary. Control points are locations that the Bureau has identified as being vital junctions of the oldest house. When the appropriate harmonization devices are arranged around the control point in the redacted arrangement, the surrounding area will not experience any unforeseen building shifts. These control points are discovered by redacted detection of an unobstructed ping using the redacted within a 37-foot radius. Numerous researchers have attempted to define control points, calling them nerve junctions or redacted or vulnerable spots of the oldest house. The common factor in these theories is that control points are susceptible to external influence, which allows us to stabilize the oldest house and work more confidently inside it. Theoretically, this technology could be extrapolated to stabilize the oldest house as a whole, but testing has found that certain parts of the building refuse to be redacted. Refer to File 7-25-2788 for full report. Groupthink. Summary. This study extends the work groupthink. Utilization of paranatural elements. Rethinking groupthink. Summary. This study extends the work of Irving Janus, Robert Barron, and others by proposing strong, causal links between groupthink and the passive or active use of telepathy. To prove these connections, the parapsychology department carried out variations of Solomon Ash's original conformity experiments using a telepathic individual as the subject. See experiments redacted for details. Extensive qualitative and quantitative data resulting from these experiments was then used to identify telepathic interference within the group. Further empirical findings suggest measures can be taken to safeguard against telepathic influence or behaviors by engaging in redacted. Rather boldly, this paper stands to revolutionize decades of groupthink theory and provide new directions for further experimentation on the mind, including manipulation of redacted and redacted. Refer to File 3-18-2849 for full report. Home safe tests. Utilization of paranatural elements. Munitions testing on Object Power 22, aka Home Safe. Summary. The safe object of power can produce a barrier using objects or material from its immediate vicinity. See OOP-22 case file for more details. Bureau Rangers were given permission to employ heavy weaponry against a parautilitarian bound to this object in order to gauge the barrier's durability. Redacted and redacted velocity ammunition were tested with redacted results. Testing will continue after redacted. The safe object of power is clearly a viable candidate for use in combat response scenarios. Allowing parautilitarians to participate in alternate engagements would be an advantage worth considering. Refer to File 8-53-8367 for full report. Mirror Altered Item. Altered Item Examination Proposal. AI60, aka the Mirror. Summary. This proposal is to finally determine the precise nature of the reflected space within the altered item. Is it transplanar, psychologically generated, or rooted within our own dimension? How does the altered item know the space in its vicinity well enough to reflect it? Why does it reflect some materials but not others? Is the space a parallel reality? If so, then we need to consider that while we possess this physical end of the mirror, someone else owns the other. What purposes might they use it for? Can they walk through into our own world? What are their motives? Lastly, to what purpose does the altered item produce the reflections of individuals that enter it? Can these reflected entities leave the altered item? As with all altered items, we need to attempt to distinguish if this behavior is redacted. Refer to File 5-12-8251 for full report. Mirror Containment. Altered Item Behavioral Study. AI60, Containing the Reflection. Summary. AI60, the mirror, does not reflect its surroundings with perfect accuracy. The environment seen in its glass contains slight distinctions. It is unknown why the mirror does this. If there is any redacted, then it's something we can't perceive. The popular theory is that the mirror has a goal in mind, that it reflects the world it wishes were real, subtly replacing our reality with its own. While certainly far-fetched, the theory is worth noting here as a warning not to underestimate the mirror. The specially designed black rock panels have been installed to prevent access from our side or the mirrors. For added security, a particular arrangement of the panels is required to open the door. Refer to File 9-15-7412 for full report. Object and item distinctions. Examination of paranatural topics. Object of power and altered item distinctions. Summary. While altered items and objects of power may seem dissimilar at first, it's important to note some very key distinctions. Firstly, objects of power grant parautilitarian abilities. See file PUT-812 for an introduction to the subject. Secondly, objects of power translocate anyone who makes physical contact to the astral plane. This is widely believed to be due to the redacted's affiliation with objects of power. Not every individual is allowed in the astral plane, which indicates the redacted evaluates who can and cannot enter. Thirdly, and this is not always the case, objects of power are much more paranaturally redacted than altered items. Looking at the specific criteria that defines an object of power, it is no wonder they are notably rarer than altered items. In fact, we have redacted altered items for every object of power contained within the Bureau. Refer to file 5-29-9849485 for full report. Parautility. Examination of paranatural topics, objects of power and their parautility. Summary. Objects of power are unique in their capacity to grant certain individuals paranatural abilities. We call these individuals parautilitarians. The potency of these abilities depends on the parautilitarian. Using the redacted objects of power as an example, some parautilitarians can achieve a throw distance of redacted, while others are only capable of as little as redacted. See Darling Presentation 11.15 for more information. What exactly determines an individual's paranatural competence is unknown, but it is largely believed by some that some redacted exists within the body, and that, like all muscles, it can be exercised. To continue my analysis, I have officially requested access to the Northmore records, considering he is one of the most accomplished parautilitarians the board has ever seen. Dr. Darling is still considering this request. Refer to file 8-54-1982 for full report. Technological restrictions. Examination of paranatural topics. Technological limitations of the oldest house. Summary. The oldest house imposes certain limitations on our Bureau, but by far the most restrictive is the inability to use certain technological instruments. The oldest house does not allow devices that receive or emit any redacted signal. Radio waves are the only transmittable signals in the oldest house, and even those are often unreliable. If the power of collective unconsciousness is taken into account, it could be that certain pieces of technology are too, quote-unquote, new in the cultural redacted for the oldest house to redact them. Similarly, these items have not been known to become receptacles for altered status. Technology may be moving at too fast a pace for redacted to occur. Modern technology tends to disappear and break here, sometimes quite violently. Redacted agents have been injured by cell phones exploding in their pockets while entering the oldest house. Refer to file 4-19-1935 full report. The formation. Examination of paranatural topics. Interwoven causality of the formation. Summary. The formation is a tall stone structure found in quarry site Beta, only reachable by placing distinct tokens into the jukebox object of power. See OOP-0110 for case file details. The formation's exact purpose is redacted, but we can at least examine its relationship to the redacted surrounding it. Measuring devices found trace evidence of redacted at certain lines running from the formation to the redacted. When examined properly, 4 direct ritual tethers were detected. Some form of sympathetic causality connects the formation with the redacted, which means, in theory, that when certain redacted are performed at one, it will physically affect the other. I've been urged to note here that some individuals believe the formation responds to any fulfillment of purpose or desire in nearby individuals, though I'd like to remind those individuals that we're in the parakinesiology department, not the para-feelings department. I'm proud to report that my team was able to design, construct, and install a permanent detection system. These arches will help rangers identify when the casual tethers are active, allowing them to better redacted. Refer to File 8-38-1989 for full report. Thresholds. Examination of paranatural topics. Thresholds. Summary. The oldest house is a place in flux. Thresholds appear with no warning. What the threshold will contain is a question we can only answer once it manifests. The widely accepted theory is that thresholds are dimensions vibrating on a redacted frequency different from our own. When these frequencies match, the threshold will manifest in the oldest house, which acts as a redacted. Others theorize thresholds are parallel universes or possibly our own reality at different points in time. Some believe our collection of altered materials affects the house. Some believe our collection of altered materials affects the house or attracts the thresholds. We do know for certain that thresholds are not permanent. Eventually their frequency will shift. Some believe Earth is just another threshold connected to the oldest house, which is actually rooted in some other reality. This theory, while impossible to disprove, causes redacted in those who learn of it is so actively denied. Oh. Urban legends. Examination of paranatural topics. Urban legends. Summary. Urban legends are believed to affect the creation of altered materials, but can also dictate the characteristics of an altered world event. Urban legends are understood as the modern evolution of Jung's archetypes. We recognize certain redacted, informed by our own redacted, and popularized by our media. We have additionally proven that urban legends can even be artificially redacted in popular culture using Redacted, our Buearu-made anthology television program. Once the seeds are sown, human imagination exacerbates the details. Certain paranatural phenomena contain clear elements of popularized folklore. AWEs that only occur on Redacted, a pair of scissors that consume human Redacted through 2 punctures on the Redacted. These details, living in the minds of so many, have been given strength through belief. Urban legends are not just stories for children, they are paranatural realities waiting to happen. Refer to File 4-93-6942 for full report. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. That's the full list of collectibles in the research section that we've found so far. Now, I would like to remind you guys that that's not everything, though. In Part 3, we're going to be going back to paranatural research so we can visit the AWE ordinary threshold. And hopefully there, we'll be able to go through a breakdown of what exactly happened at the town and what led to the events that brought Jesse and Dylan here. I'm the Archivist, here on North Nox's channel, signing off.